Hello, it's Scott Manley here with another look at Elite Dangerous. Specifically, we are going to go exploring. We are going to go far afield, which means we want to have a maximal jump range, let's say. So, to do this, we can make some adjustments to the default ship to help us get further, get more miles or more bang for our buck. Now, right now we can jump 7.656 light years, but if we reduce our mass by selling the hardware that comes with the ship, we can bump this up a little. So by selling this, we'll get up to something like 7.9. By selling the second pulse laser, and when I say sell, this is loan, so you get 0 credits back from this. This is entirely about saving mass. If I have to rebuy those will be expensive. But you can also dump the shield generator, because why do you need a shield generator? I'm going exploring. I'm not going to be fighting. There, so my range is up to 8.77, and it's time for us to depart. There's Bay 42 there. Surely a good sign for anyone that's going to be hitchhiking across the galaxy, right? And yeah, some people have been seeing a bunch of graphics artifacts and weird lighting issues, so understandable. There seems to be a few glitches around, but don't worry. Also, people are having a hard time getting on, and I think that I am having an easy time, because when I'm trying, it's like 11 o'clock at night in California, which means it's about 4 a.m. in Europe. I think that's the real problem. Anyway, I'm going to start hopping off towards a target which I talked about yesterday. We are aiming ultimately to get to 47 Ursa Majoris, which I showed last night, and I said all I can see in this map is a star and 2 stations. There should be 3 planets here according to exoplanet observations, right? And people said maybe it's because you haven't explored it. Well, that's what I'm going to find out. Now, I wasn't 100% convinced that the exploration was going to be the answer, because this planet, this star system, was actually much closer to known space. It was the near end of the pill-shaped area, as opposed to the far end that extended off into deep space. So yeah, heading off to Bolg next. I think Bolg is a character in The Hobbit. I think he's one of the orcs in the Hobbit movie. Now, are they goblins? I don't remember. They're playing fast and loose with orcs versus goblins, if you ask me. Not that I'm complaining too much. Anyway, typically you can get a couple of jumps out of a fuel tank, so that's what I was doing. I would make one jump and immediately jump onto the next one. But Bolg is an interesting place to go for any nerds, because if I look down here, we have a station called Wang Terminal, which immediately makes me smile ear to ear. Wang were a computer company, and of course you could actually buy a Wang terminal. Yeah, so I figured that I had to stop by here. Oh, and we got an interdiction. And of course this is going to be fun, because there's 2 jumps into my epic voyage, and I don't have shields. So you'll notice I already have all power to the engines. No power I've got no power to the weapons. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what power I have to system, because I do not have any shields. I just need to start making distance. So while the drive is charging, I have to keep range on him, because if he gets any shots on me, they will go straight into my hull. Now, this means just basically pointing away from him and afterburner. I can't turn off the flight assist and magically cruise along at maximum speed anymore. That is broken, but turns out there are some other tricks still left open to me. There is the elite equivalent of the bunny hop available right now. That means you have to combine a strafe command with a bit of rotation, and I'm going to try this here. Watch my speed as I start to use my strafe. Now I'm using a diagonal strafe here. See, my velocity is rising again. So by carefully combining your strafe commands, you can probably get a little bit of extra speed. I haven't formulated this precisely, but it's definitely a strategic advantage which you should learn to use, and somebody should probably figure out, because it may save your skin. Anyway, I have managed to stay ahead of the pack, and I'm back into Slipstream, Cruise, whatever, Super Cruise mode, that's what they call it. off to Wang Terminal, which is just a very small little outpost here. Yeah, I believe like Wang as a technology company started in the 1950s, and sometime I guess they started making like calculators, and then they really started getting successful with word processors and their office information system. They developed computers and stuff, but you know, I guess by the late 90s they went out of business and they were gone. But you know, they were pretty important in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s in terms of word processor manufacturers. Obviously, somebody has brought the brand back and named a station after it. Anyway, this is the first stop on a long trip out to 47 Ursa Majoris, and we need to refuel here. And it just takes a little bit of time now that we have the refuel button on the front page. Typically, it's costing about 50 credits to refuel it on each step, so while it's costing me a little bit, I could practically go anywhere in the universe with this spacecraft, assuming I don't get attacked. But the next place we wanted to go was Ross 1015. So named because it's the 1015th star in Frank Elmore Ross's catalogue. Moving on from here, the next place is a star called Chara. And at this time I wasn't sure whether it was really the real Chara, which is also called Beta Canum Venaticorum. It's part of the Southern Dog. Now when I jumped in, I got an announcement saying, hey, you've discovered a new object. So what you do is you target the object, and in the bottom left you see it scanning. Well, when the scan finishes, it tells me what type of star it is. Right now it is unknown, but when we're going to find out, it says it's a G05, which is exactly the same classification as the real Chara, so I'm presuming they based it off of that. Anyway, we need to refuel, so of course we set course for the nearest station that we can find, and it is Shada Dock, or Shade Dock. I don't know, it's not Shada, it's not like the Doctor Who series that was never made, except as the radio version. Anyway, once I get close, I once again get discovered one new astronomical object. So yeah, point myself at this, and at this point I wasn't sure, so I was dropping out of Super Cruise to actually scan the target. And in fact, I had gone into my right panel and bound the scanner to one of my fire groups. Turns out that's completely pointless. All you need to do is have the object targeted on the left, like this, lock as a destination, and you'll see now the scanning starts, as if by magic. No fire groups needed, no dropping out of Super Cruise, but this is all. It's a learning process, so if you've watched this, now you won't make the same mistake as me. So yeah, now it tells that it's an independent, well, it means it's owned by the independent group. It's not part of the Federation or the Empire.
Drive charging.
Anyway, having acquired the data, we continue on to the station, which as it turns out is an Orbis station, which means it should have all the facilities that a pilot in a long voyage needs. You know, showers, steak buffet, that kind of thing, and landing pads. You'll notice that I've now actually assigned the landing gear to a single button. I generally stick it on one of the rockers on the bottom of the throttle, because I barely use it. It's a rarely used object. Right now I'm still having problems assigning all the controls on my X52 Pro incidentally. So still needs to be a bit of work to do there. So other than refueling, there's now a second reason for me to be here. Universal Cartographics, that is the company that will pay me for my scans. So you see that you can buy data on all these different systems. If I scroll down to the bottom, I have data on the Chara system, which I can sell for 323. This is only the stock scanner on my spacecraft. You can upgrade the scanners and you will get more money for your scans because they provide more data, more useful information, perhaps details on the mineralogy or whatever, so that the mining companies can better target their scans. Anyway, we want to go onwards towards 47 Ursa Majoris, and This is how to actually figure out a route. I still haven't figured out a good way. I can set the navigation up and set a destination, but I haven't found a way for it to actually generate the route. Perhaps I'm missing something because I'm stupid, but I would find it would show me the start, it would show me the end, and then it wouldn't show me the route. So I pretty much had to just click around trying to figure out the best way to go. So here we go. Chara to Bureau to Ross 1003, which is clearly only 12 lines separated from Ross 1015. Once again, I arrive in this system of Bureau and I get told I've discovered a new star, a new astronomical object. And at this point, I'm still figuring out exactly how the scanning works, which is why I'm like trying to shut down my frame shift and various other things. Drop out a frame shift pointlessly, but the scanning only happens when you actually target it. And incidentally, you can use, the standard target button to target an object which has appeared. You just have to make sure you're pointing in the right direction. And yeah, getting data on this star called Burex A, which is an anarchic G8 class system. But yeah, it's not a real star, or at least it's not in any catalog, I believe, with that name. It might have a name in some catalog. I haven't looked at the exact coordinates for it, so it's hard for me to tell. And at this point, I'm poking around trying to remember what way I was going to go next. Yes, Ross 1003 gets me to Qian-Gu, and then from there I can jump to 47 Ursa Majoris. So Ross 1003 is a Federation industrial system run by a corporate government with a population of 3.9 million. You'll see that the map shows no planets, it just shows stations in an asteroid belt. So of course, what I have to do is find the objects. Discovered one new astronomical object. Yay! Go for the scan ASAP. And by this point, I've figured out that I can actually do the scan while in Super Cruise. I've got a little bit smarter. Flying past the giant chocolate swirl world, we get well, I'm sure we've collected that data already. We're heading off to the Whiz-Off Depot, which is another one of these little outposts with blocks and spheres and stuff all joined together. I wonder if it's a tribute that there's a spherical whiz ball at the Whiz-Off outpost. Who knows? We're now in the Qian-Gu system. Of course, we refueled at Ross 1003. We've arrived and we have an unknown target, so we can lock the destination. The scanning starts. The information comes in. My spacecraft is just sucking down as much data as it can on this stellar body, while staring at the magnetic fields and the plasma that is wound up in them. We've got it. Now it's time to lock and engage hyperdrive, heading off towards 47 Ursa Majoris. This is our ultimate destination. Will it have the planets that we wanted to see? Will they be the planets that we see in the exoplanet database? I don't know until this point, until I get there. So we're gonna find out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hyperspace. Oh wait, no, it's supposed to be engage. Yes, I gotta do my Captain Picard moment. Of course, I can do the Picard engage thing because I'm on my own and nobody's going to think I'm strange being a fan of a 1,000-year-old television show. I mean, God, that television show, it's only in 2 dimensions. I had discovered one new astronomical object. So this is the moment of truth. Is it going to be the kind of star that we want? We need it to be a G1V. That's what we're looking for. What does it say? G1V, we have hit the jackpot. This is legit, this is the real thing, and now we need to head to one of these stations. So, of course, we're turning around and we're hoping that there will be a planet at this, and it'll hopefully be one of the planets we're interested in. Mitchell Plant, not planet, it is a plant orbiting a planet. But equally, perhaps it could be a planet in space. Who knows? Now, I speeded this up because I want you to see this white dot which is moving relative to the stars. I see it, so I turn towards it, though anything that moves against the background is a celestial body in the same system. So this is a planet. We have 2 outposts and we have a 3rd planet which we have now discovered. That means there's possibly 3 planets in this system, which is looking very interesting considering that's what we're supposed to find in the real 47 Ursa Majoris. This is a gas giant. We get nice and close and it says discovered new astronomical object. So of course, point myself at it, start slurping down all the data it can give us about itself. And you know, gas giants, they can tell you all sorts of fascinating things about the makeup of the primordial material of the solar systems, because of course nothing tends to leave the gas giants. What does tend to happen is they get fractionated, whereas the light stuff goes to the top and the heavy stuff goes to the middle. Anyway, we've scanned that planet and we're back off towards Mitchell Plant. There might be moons, but I'm skipping them for now. So anyway, while we're travelling on to the next section, some other important stuff to know is those internal slots. You can also install cargo bays. So early on, it's quite possible to get more cargo space by unfitting your shields and then fitting in cargo space. The only thing is that once you sell your shield, you'll get no credits for it, and really it's going to cost you 80,000 to buy a new one. So you might as well either die or buy a new ship. Those are your options, because for 80k you can probably buy a new ship anyway. Now again, I've commented that some of the shaders seem to be a little broken in places, so it's possible these things will change. If it's possible that some of the colours are due to graphical glitches and it's not clear that these are the final colours. They seem... they don't seem right in some cases, let's say. Some of the clouds seem to be... the contrast seems to be far too high. But we'll find out, I guess. Anyway, now we're at Mitchell Plant. We can actually sit in the dark and appreciate the far side of this planet. We should not be able to see anything there, to be honest, but... Now, as it happens, this station offered more than just refueling. It offered, so you see I have a space left where I took my shields out, right? You can put all sorts of things in these internal component slots. Well, it turns out they have the detailed surface scanner. Now, the detailed surface scanner lets you get even more data on the planets, so that when you sell the data, you get a lot more. I ended up exploring this system and getting a few thousand credits for my task. And ultimately, this is what we ended up with. We have 3 planets. One at 2.1 AU and a 1078 day orbit. We have Ursa Majoris C, which is in a 3.6 AU orbit. And finally, we have Ursa Majoris D, which is an 11.6 AU orbit. These are all in exactly the same orbits as the exoplanets that are believed to be around the real 47 Ursa Majoris. So the developers, in contrast to my earlier assertion, they have gone above and beyond and they have built the real thing in there. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.